All right, go ahead.
Good evening. Welcome to Lower Frederick Township's Board of Supervisors General Meeting, February 4th of 2025. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. We have all in attendance except for Chuck Geiger, who should be on Zoom. We're having some technical difficulties, so I don't believe we're going to be getting that up on the screen this evening. All staff is present. Township meetings are recorded for the purpose of preparing the minutes, and the recording is destroyed after the minutes are approved. The meeting will be posted online on the Township YouTube channel. The link can be found on the Board of Supervisors page on the Township website. It is requested that all persons wishing to speak to the board should state the name, address, and the subject matter upon which they wish to speak for the record. In the interest of facilitating the business of the board, all persons addressing the board shall be limited to 3 minutes unless such time is extended by the chair for good cause. Individuals are requested to remain in their seats and to respect when other persons are speaking. The Board of Supervisors will provide a reasonable opportunity for citizens to comment on any non-agenda items after all agenda items have been addressed prior to the adjournment of the public meeting. And just to let you know, we had an executive session before this evening's meeting here in the Township office at 6:30 to discuss litigation and
Legal advice.
legal advice. Thank you. Okay, first on our agenda this evening are the meeting minutes.
It's not working.
Can you hear me?
No, not very well. The mic's not working.
Check. This might be the only mic that works.
Check.
Yeah.
Nope.
So
We'll have an open mic.
So the mic I checked doesn't work, or it's the only one that's working.
Sorry about that. Is there anything I need to repeat for anyone?
Yo.
Okay. All right, so first on our agenda this evening for administrative actions is the meeting minutes of November 6th of 2024. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Marla makes a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Terry Bird seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Next on is our treasurer's report.
Do you want to just post, because I would prefer, I don't know.
This microphone is working, Terry said.
Terry's is?
Check.
No. I don't even know. Doesn't seem to be.
What about this one here?
Chuck, can you hear me?
Chuck, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear Jason very well, and I can hear Noel fairly well too. Just a little echoey, but yes, I can hear both of you.
Dabra's picking us up.
Oh.
Chuck, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, if you can hear me, I'll do my thing. Okay, so through January, we've successfully closed out our 2024 financials and initiated the 2025 budgeting process. Our annual liquid fuels report has been submitted, and I am updating our financial reports for 2025, which the board will review at its March meeting. Preparation for the annual audit is also underway. As we begin the new year, we continue to monitor our cash flow and expenditures with all accounts remaining in good standing, and there's been no major expenses to report in the month of January. Highlights, we did roll over a $245,000 3-year CD, which expired in January at a rate of 1.2%, and we rolled that into a 9-month CD at 4.35%. The township also received an anonymous $100,000 donation for land acquisition for the Public Works facility. As the letter reads, "Dear Jason, please find the attached to this letter a check made out to Lower Frederick Township for $100,000. This check is a donation to the township to be used in its entirety for the purchase of a parcel of land sufficient for the location of the Public Works Department facility. This gift is being made out of the made on the condition that is used for this purpose only, may not be put into the general fund or used for any other purposes. If there's any money left over after the purchase of the land, it may be used towards other expenses related to a new public works facility, such as legal costs related to land purchase, engineering, etc. I wish this gift to remain anonymous, and my hope is that it will be put to use as quickly as possible. So for the board's edification, we're opening up its own Victory account, and it will be housed under the capital reserve, essentially like an escrow account, but it'll have its own bucket, so it'll remain outside of our other general capital funds. Any questions?
I have a question, Chuck Geiser. How can we, and this maybe is a Peter question, how can we memorialize, is that the right word? This request so that a future group who may not know why it's there, spend the money on something that it wasn't intended to be spent on?
Well, I think one of the reasons why it was announced tonight was that very fact, to get it in the minutes. The board could also adopt a motion, kind of accepting the check and acknowledging the restrictions that are placed on these funds. But there's not a lot we can do.
The audio has dropped out on for the Zoom participants.
You can adopt that.
I don't have a question, but is this microphone working?
No.
No. Oh, nice. It's not.
I unplugged Jason, it
No.
was not working out.
Okay. So this is the jobber that's working.
Yes, it appears so.
Okay. And then just the remote mic or wireless mic.
So does that answer it, Chuck?
I actually didn't hear most of what you said because the audio dropped out on Zoom. But if there
To recap, you have the letter, you'll have the minutes, you could adopt a resolution at a future meeting outlining the acceptance of the money and the restriction.
Okay, what I'm thinking of, and again, you're the one who knows. Is there a way we could do some sort of put something in place so every year, beginning of the year, just like we do all these other resolutions, we have to include a resolution acknowledging that this fund and its existence and its purpose. At least that way, every board when I'm gone and when everybody else is gone knows why that money's there.
Yes, you could put something like that in place, yes.
I think that we should think about that.
Are you finished with your treasurer's report?
Yes.
Okay, up next on our agenda is payment of bills, January 1st to January 31st. Do you want me to read these off?
Just the total. Usually we just do the total.
There's no total, there's balances for the 4 accounts.
Those are the total.
No, those are totals.
Right, I got that, there's 4 balances. I'll read those for you.
Okay.
Okay, all right, there's another number here. So from the general fund, $127,470.39. The sewer fund, $48,662.18. The ARPA COVID relief fund, $149.54. And liquid fuels, $13,676.23. Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion.
Terry Berg makes motion, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Terry Sachs seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Pass unanimously. Professional staff reports. Carol.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? No, I can.
Yep, you come loud and clear on Zoom.
Oh, okay, great. I'll speak up to the group. All right, the first two items on my report appear later on the agenda, so I'll jump over those. Informational items include Prestige Builders. The installation of sewer in Little Road has paused because the asphalt plants are closed. Construction of new homes near the northern development entrance is still underway, and installation of sanitary sewer within the site interior is complete. At Melbourne Hill, blasting activity started this week. I believe yesterday was the first day of blasting activity. The Spring Mount Road sidewalk project, not much is happening, of course, because of winter weather, but utility pole relocation work did begin. The bulk of that project is likely to be underway in March and April of this year. On the Meng Road special study, the demographic analysis and the future growth analysis were prepared for that report, and various alternatives delineated for an alternative analysis. Hydroterra professionals will prepare estimates of probable costs for some of those alternatives, particularly the low pressure ones. They'll be doing that in coming weeks to include in the study and keep it moving forward. Next on my list is the MS4, which is an acronym for Municipal Separate Storm Sewers in the township. The township holds an MS4 permit. In January, we met with Public Works staff to inspect various township properties to ensure consistency with Lower Frederick's MS4 Good Housekeeping Plan. A report was issued, and the Minimum Control Measure, or MCM number 6, Good Housekeeping Plan for municipal operations was updated where appropriate, keeping ourselves in line with that permit. The other items, there's been no change since the last report, or it addresses individual home grading permits, so I'll pause there unless there's something further the board would like to hear about.
Okay, Peter, do you have any reports?
No.
Okay. Township staff reports. TCAS?
Thank you. For the month of January, we had 383 calls for service. Conducted 54 traffic enforcement details. Out of those 54 details, 52 stops were initiated, which resulted in 26 citations being issued for multiple various motor vehicle code violations. The police department reminds all the residents to continue to keep their vehicles locked, remove the personal items, leave an exterior light on. Call 911 to report any suspicious activity. We have several ongoing investigations currently. At this time, the investigations cannot be disclosed. Once these investigations are completed, that results in an arrest. The board and the public will be made aware of it with the circumstances of the investigation. Officer Lauer attended training at the Montgomery County Coroner's Office, which was focused on drug death, drug investigation, and drug prosecution with the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office. The entire police department participated with Perkins Valley School District Police when they conducted their run, hide, fight drill, and as well as their shelter in place drill. Those two separate times over the past week. And just to note for everyone, we'd like to remind all the residents that the information discussed on any of the social media platforms is not accurate or not usually accurate. If anyone has a concern, please reach out to the police department. Your concerns will be kept confidential. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Jason, do you have, stop.
That's not gonna work.
All right, Scott Angstead, Fire Chief. We had a total of 15 calls last month. Nothing of note, no interesting calls at all, which is a good thing. Last few weeks, we have had a training for CPA and CPR and first aid, and also RIT team, which is rapid intervention team. Rapid intervention is if we have a fire call and it's of nature where firefighters can be trapped and or injured. There's a team that's set aside specifically for the purpose of only rescuing those who might be in danger. Something that's very important, and we're getting more into it, that we haven't trained on it in a while. But the general area that we work with is getting a lot more proactive as far as that's concerned. Us and Upper Southwick Fire Company have decided to pretty much work on all trainings together to make sure that, you know, everybody is up and doing the same thing that everybody else is. Different companies do things a different way. We're trying to really work together where we're as one, more or less. And then the last thing is we recently lost a member to the professional ranks. His name is Matt Hautzinger. It's Deputy Chief John Hautzinger's son. He was 3 years in the Coast Guard when he graduated at Brooklyn Valley, and he got hired and just finished up the academy and was placed on one of the stations that are the main part of town and one of the busier ones. Matt actually got 2 awards at the awards the ceremony when they were actually given their certificates for completing the 6 months training. So good luck to him, and it just shows you that Montgomery County and Lower Frederick, we're doing a pretty good job at training people. Currently, we have 3 members who are paid firemen, and a 4th one that is actually going to be paid. And out of that, Matt's the only one we've lost to. It's Charlestown, South Carolina, so you can't blame them, actually. So, all right, any questions?
No, thank you. Does anyone have questions?
Thank you.
Terrific, thank you so much. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Public Works, ambulance.
I don't have anything for ambulance yet.
Okay.
Public Works, they did 3 UNO sump pump sewer inspections. They had 1 plow event in January, 2 salt events. They cold patched various roads. They continued work in the police department, which actually officially was completed this morning. So the PD renovation is fully complete. We'll have the board down at a soon to be disclosed date for you guys to check it out. It's amazing down there. They cleaned up down trees, and they repaired their trucks and plows in between the events.
Thank you. Time for our Township Boarding Commission reports. Is there anyone here from the EAC? On Zoom, view?
I'm on Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yes, Karen, thank you.
Hi. Okay, the EAC met on January 14th. We conducted our reorganization. I was elected as chair. Diane Jurin was elected as vice chair, and Steve Lineski was elected as secretary. The Green Energy Committee reported that 3 of their members attended a building energy ordinance workshop hosted by the Montgomery and Chester County Planning Commissions. They are developing a toolkit for municipalities who wish to use their ordinances as lever for greenhouse gas reduction through regulating and incentivizing energy conservation and efficiency, electrification, and renewable energy. Information from the workshop was shared with the Lower Frederick Planning Commission at their January meeting. The letter to CVS and Wawa regarding reusable bags were delivered. We received a positive response from CVS, and we're still waiting to hear from Wawa. The Lower Frederick Wilds webpage is now online. We'd like to thank Becky Strawbridge for help getting it up and running. It's a place to showcase improvements that Lower Frederick residents have made to make their properties more environmentally friendly, such as installation of rain gardens, native gardens, naturalized meadows, etc. We are starting with an EAC member, Steve Lineski's meadow, and we will be adding more. We encourage anyone who has made such improvements to share them on the website, and they can contact us at eac@lowerfrederick.org if they wish to do so. The Birdtown Committee will be installing predator shields on the bluebird boxes at Cuddy and Colonial Parks in the next few weeks. They need to be installed before the bluebirds begin nesting in March. And this brings us to this month's Did You Know, which is a link to a bluebird nesting timetable fact sheet. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. The Open Space Committee?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Andrew. Thank you.
Okay, just making sure. The Open Space Committee met on January 8th. That was our reorganization meeting as well. Mike Malchitsky was elected chair, Vicky Sylvester elected vice chair, and myself elected recording secretary. Relatively short public meeting. Main point of discussion was an observation on our part that there are some uncommitted funds currently in Montgomery County's capital budget for trail improvements. And we mainly just outlined that we want to discuss that further and look for opportunities for that during this upcoming year. And we also got a quick update on the Barber property that we partnered with the county and Heritage Conservancy with to preserve. That is continuing to move forward, and they're continuing to work on the different elements of that. At the end of the public session, we then went into executive session where we discussed a couple of different properties that we're currently looking at and working with. So that's all I have for our minutes and our report. I can try to answer any questions if anyone has them.
Andrew, this is Chuck Yeiser.
Yes, Chuck.
Do you have an estimate as to when the Barber property that may all close, or is that still open-ended?
My understanding, it should be in the early part of this year, at least based on the past discussions we've been having. So hopefully sooner rather than later. But I would hope, in the coming weeks, perhaps.
Okay. Planning Commission?
No green light. Planning Commission met on January the 16th. We, as the other boards and commissions, reorganized for 2025. Greg Pocus will be our chair for 2025. Crystal Gilchrist will be our vice chair. And after 25 consecutive years, I get the pleasure of being the recording secretary once again. We had two issues that we addressed during our meeting. First was a clarification by the county planner, John Mikolos, about the grant application, which we hope to have put out for 2025 to sidewalk at Delphi Junction. He gave us kind of the county's point of view and some answered questions, if you will, about why the county did not think that that was a viable grant application, so we could benefit in the future and strengthen any future applications. We went on to prioritize walkability and pedestrian connections in the township. That is kind of an ongoing project, if you will, for the Planning Commission. We got a list of, we'll call it topics in which to discuss from our county planner. He gave us some potential opportunities to discuss, and we began the process of working through those. We actually realized very early in that conversation with the planner that some of the projects that we'd like to realize are going to take a great deal of coordination, investment, money, obviously, and therefore we consider them more long-range and problematic for the near term. So not to dismiss their importance to the township, but so we basically decided to create two buckets, one that's more realizable in the near term and one that's more realizable with a lot of effort and coordination and planning. So that said, we kind of gave a mandate to our county planner to take that discussion material that we engaged in and bring back kind of a priority list for us to serve to the Board of Supervisors, knowing that we want to be kept abreast of where we hope to be able to, produce grant applications and our future efforts. So we'll be coming back to you with a list, and hopefully, you'll be able to give us some guidance on that. Incidentally, we are applying basically a litmus test to the future project of connectivity to see how we can create the greatest amount of service to our residents and people using it, so we don't end up with a project that doesn't have a lot of value to the public and will in fact be very accessible and usable for the residents and the people that visit our community. So that, basically, other than Gary did mention that we did get an informational from Diane Jurin about the energy standards that she felt were important for the Planning Commission to be aware of. So that kind of concluded our meeting, and to answer any questions, I'd be happy to.
Chuck, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Very good. Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question. I saw a month or so ago, you talked about the Zieglerville Village development and coming up with some standards that would look consistent. How will that discussion proceed?
Define what you mean by standards.
Well, it was meeting last month or the month before where you were looking at a plan for Zieglerville Village at the circle?
Obviously,
That,
okay,
yeah.
I think I can answer your question.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we obviously, feel that connections, pedestrian connections are important to the villages, and interconnectivity between the villages is also an important component that we're looking at as well. And we are certainly going to integrate those connections that we have planned or will be discussing, I shouldn't say not planned yet, but we'll be discussing, for Zieglerville Village and trying to get them not only to mesh with our comprehensive plan, but, our ongoing evolution as a township and where we see the interconnectivity between Zieglerville and, Spring Mountain, Delphi, and then actually further out even beyond that. So, yeah, it's integral to our considerations, and when we get back to you with our priority list, we can be more definitive as to how that will fit into the big picture.
Could you mention that, Emily? I was at the meeting, at least I was on Zoom, and I saw the map that you guys were considering, and can you tell me where did that plan come from? Where did that you were working on? Yeah, the map that you were working on.
Yeah, we had asked John to actually work with Crystal.
Shot off, I don't know where that concept came from.
So we designated Crystal Gilchrist to go to Montgomery County's Planning Commission offices and work with John to bring in a map, if you will, that we could kind of brainstorm with. That's how that came about. So that came from our planning relationship with the county too.
Just that came from the county?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Parks and Rec?
Hello. So we've had two meetings since the Board of Supervisors last had their general meeting. January 13th, we had the reorg meeting. I was elected as chair, Pam is going to be vice chair, and then Becky is going to be the recording secretary. We had our meeting last night in February, so that's where most of our updates are going to be coming from. Our 2025 schedule of events is currently in progress, and then upon finalization, we will share it with you guys for review. And then our next unofficial event is going to be the start of the book club. It was so popular last year, we decided to move it inside and started in February. The first one will be February 22nd from 10 to 12. It'll be here in the Township Building, and we'll be reading The Midnight Library by Matthew Haig. It's a very good book, highly recommend it. And then the next event we're gonna have is April 19th, and it's gonna be the Easter egg hunt, or the egg hunt, which is at Coble Park. We'll have the eggs filled with candy and prizes, some local organizations will be there, and then we will be stuffing eggs on April 14th here at the Township Building, so if anybody would like to come help stuff eggs, you are more than welcome to. We'll get started around 5:30. In-progress activities include, we're working on our business donation letter, which we will share with you guys at a later date. And then we're also working on updating some of our park maps, which will also be shared at a later point. We're continuing to come up with ideas for our Perkiomen Pacers walks, and outside ideas are always welcome for those. We're monitoring our little libraries. It's a little slower right now because of the weather. And then we're working on all of our other upcoming events that we're planning. And then for just the updates on the grants, we haven't heard back on either one of them on the Pico Green region for the Cuddy Park drainage plan. And also we haven't heard back for DCED Greenways for Coble Park renovation. But I did want to give an update. We did hear from John at Montgomery County, and he gave us a sample survey. We've sent it out to the Park Board for internal review. We've asked that all comments come back by Friday, and we're going to be meeting with John next Tuesday. I believe it's from 1 to 1:30 if anybody's interested in attending that as well. So hopefully we'll get that out soon too. So that's it.
You guys are very busy. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, Katie, are you talking about the Coble Park renovation questionnaire?
Yes.
I was gonna ask you about that. That would be great to have that go out.
Yep, and I can share the sample with you guys too if you'd like. I can give that over to you.
Well, this is a great time of year because it's gonna be spring, like in 6 weeks, so
Yes.
good time.
Chuck, did you have a question?
No, I did not. Don't have any.
All right, we'll finish with the reports. Let's get down to business. I see, excuse me, Artisan, did make it here this evening on time. We were gonna move you to the bottom of the list, but you came just in time.
Thank you. Actually, our attorney was with us over at Perkiomen Township, and I think she's probably parking
Do you
her
wanna
car.
wait for them?
Would that be okay if we waited?
No, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll suspend that for now. First thing on our list here is a request from Farmview, from Lennar, to work on Saturdays. Would you like to read this, Jason?
It's up to you, yeah.
Okay, I can take care of that. So, yes, so we did receive another request from Lennar, development up on Little Road, to work on Saturdays. They had come before the board back in August 27th of 2024, and the board voted 4-0 to not allow them to work on Saturdays, and then they came back and asked to work on some holidays, which we did approve because they were during the week. So their newest request is we generally use this day, which is a Saturday, to make up time due to inclement weather during the week, and Saturday is also extremely important, so we may ensure meeting our projections for quarter and fiscal year end. I would hope consideration will be made for a full or at least an abbreviated workday, possibly 8 to 4. I can ensure that activities would not include use of heavy equipment, blasting the likes of high decibel noise, but rather our interior tradesmen certainly. But I would also ask for trades such as framers, roofers, and siders. Their developers agreement indicated that there's not to be any work during the weekends as well. Does anybody have any comments or discussion on this?
If they commit to and comply with mostly indoor work, which will not impact the neighborhood, I don't have an issue with working Saturdays, but we're gonna have to monitor that for compliance.
Yeah, so no knowledge. They came to us in August for a weekend, they came to us in November. For federal holidays, we gave them most of those. Not just our developer agreement, but our ordinance also dictates that no weekend work is to occur. Since that time, we've denied their request. They've worked pretty many weekends. So they're not gonna follow our rules no matter what we say. I'm not gonna vote on this because I'm a neighbor. We don't have staff on weekends to monitor this. So I would suggest we say no again. I don't think anyone should be concerned about their quarterly or fiscal year-end targets. It's none of our business, that's theirs. But they have to follow our rules, they're not doing that now. I want to see more enforcement, and that's what I have to say.
This is Chuck. I mean, I feel similar, have similar feelings as to what Terry Bird just expressed. I mean, this is, we've had issues already with working on Saturdays, even though we've told them not to. Our policy, our code says no work on the weekends unless there's an exception. So it's not like we switch something on them after they made their business projections. We have had an exceptionally dry period the last several months. So you should be able to get a lot of work done, I would think. So I'm not inclined to consider this a request. In fact, I'm a little annoyed that we're asked. A little annoyed that we're being asked again. Thanks.
So just for everybody's knowledge, Lennar is a large national developer traded on the NASDAQ. They've been in business for 70 years. And their year-end revenue for 2024 was $35.4 billion. So I don't think winter should be an insurmountable obstacle for them to overcome. So I too would not be entertaining the request. I'm sorry, do you have a question?
Good evening. George Malik, Colonial Drive. I intimately oppose that contractor or any other contractor working weekends. People work hard Monday to Friday. They want their weekends to be able to rest. Okay? They don't want to hear a bunch of noise. And if you got roofers or siders or whatever, they're going to use nail guns, which are going to make noise. It's going to be repetitive in nature, and it's just going to be annoying as hell. Okay? And like you just said, they made how many $1 billion last year? They don't need to work Saturdays here. Now, if we have rules in place, why aren't we enforcing them? Why don't the police go out and enforce those rules for the township, because that's part of our township? Okay? Are there fines being imposed on these people for doing these kind of things? There should be. So I, for one, oppose that as well, and I appreciate the fact that you all do too. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Curry, did you have anything?
Nope, go ahead.
So are there any other questions? Anyone comments? Okay. So would anyone like to make a motion? I'd be happy to do so. I move to deny the request by U.S. Homes, Lennar, to work on Saturdays for the Farmview Estates project. Do I have a second?
Chuck Yiza will second. Request denied.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it sounds unanimous.
Recuse.
Terry Bird will recuse. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Next is the award for the 2025 oil and chip project equipment bid. Oh, no, that would be that.
Nope.
Noel, Arson, their legal counsel showed up. If you want to.
Oh, they did show up. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay. Would you folks like that?
We're having mic issues, so just speak loud, please.
I'll take the responsibility. I think I put that jinx on you on the 28th when I was here with the technological. Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you for having Artisan this evening on your agenda. I have Joan London with me tonight. She is our counsel, and she has been interacting with Solicitor Nelson over the last, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks on a boundary line adjustment that we are requesting to engage both Lower Frederick Township and Perkiomen Township on an adjustment to 3 interior proposed lot lines in order to take the irregularly shaped boundary line and put it onto the specific lots for clarity that lot 1 would then be fully inside of Lower Frederick Township, lots 2 and 28 would then be fully within Perkiomen Township. We were just at Perkiomen Township, and Perkiomen Township supervisors are considering the request. We're receptive to it. They want to have the planning commission look at it, and we'll have a more definitive answer in March. Municipal boundary line changes. The law has recently changed on that. It no longer has to be by referendum. It can be done by ordinance and agreement under Act 41 of 2022. It would require both municipalities to adopt an ordinance. There would need to be a public meeting at which public comment is taken. And the statute does say public meeting, not a formal public hearing, but there would need to be an opportunity for public comment. It is a procedure that would require an agreement and an ordinance similar to the procedure for an intermunicipal agreement used to be. There would need to be a legal description and plan prepared. The plan has been prepared by Langen Engineering, showing the current municipal boundary and the proposed municipal boundary. Jackie, do they have that? Do they have that, the municipal boundary exhibit?
They do. They don't have the one that was just done today by Langen that has the meets and bounds on it. So that's
all right. Well, I'll make sure that Attorney Nelson receives a copy of it to distribute to the board. But what we're asking for tonight is this board's consideration to allow your solicitor for Perkiomen Township and myself to work on the details of an agreement for a boundary line change, and for your consideration of the proposed boundary line change, which would take care of a zoning problem of undersized lots by placing lots 2 and 28 in Perkiomen Township and lot 1 in its entirety in Lower Frederick Township. It would simplify an issue with the development by making the lots either in one township or another completely, rather than having to ask for separate zoning relief on a plan that is mainly within Perkiomen Township, with some areas in Schwentzville and a small area in this township. But again, we would ask for your consideration of the boundary line change and authorization for the two solicitors and myself to work together.
Does anyone have any questions? Any comments?
This is Chuck Geiser. I'm on Zoom. So you're asking for this change in lieu of making any substantive changes to your plan to sort of cure this problem. Is that right?
So when we originally came to Lower Frederick Township and all 3 municipalities for a property that has an existing boundary line that is running, at an unusual angle through the property, the thought had been at the time to do it as an intermunicipal agreement between Lower Frederick and Perkiomen, since both the townships had just gone through that process with another property on Smith Road with a very similar issue running through the almost 50%, in the middle of the property. And through the revision of the plan, through the way that the plan is proposed, that it was determined between the solicitors and our council that the cleanest way to approach it would be through a boundary line change in this way that would be under an ordinance that each township would enact. So what we're hoping to have from you tonight is the ability for the attorneys to speak, engage with each other, to create the agreement. We have what will be the attachment of the plan that meets the specs for the ordinance, and then we would come back to you in March in order to then adopt that ordinance.
Yeah, I guess what my question is what am I to understand that there is no way to re-engineer the plan to avoid this boundary issue?
I don't believe that there is a way to re-engineer the plan to avoid the boundary issue entirely. Again, the plan is located mainly in Perkiomen Township, but in 3 municipalities. We had originally asked for an intermunicipal agreement, which could potentially resolve the issue. But that was found not to be workable or acceptable to the municipalities. It's our position that this is the cleanest way to resolve it, so that a development that is of a reasonable size and configuration and meets all other requirements can be reasonably developed. And again, with the in a way that has the municipal boundary line follow lot lines, which is considered the most desirable. The municipal boundaries are generally supposed to follow either naturally occurring lines or lot lines, and this would follow lot lines.
And I will supplement that one part, that there's 4.4 acres in Lower Frederick Township. The plan has always proposed 1 lot in Lower Frederick that needs to, the zoning calls for a 2-acre lot. It is still compliant at a 2.02 acre lot. We are proposing the same landscaping that we were, the same setbacks, so there's nothing that is being changed from what is proposed on the plan by allowing the boundary line for the Perkiomen lots of 2 and 28 to then be within Perkiomen zoning.
Okay. I have more questions, but I'll let some of the other board members ask whatever they want to ask.
I have a more general question. In consideration for this concession, would you be open to requests from the township?
So I think, as you know, we were before you on the 28th of January, and the significant reason we asked to come and do the presentation is because we are proposing traffic improvements at the intersection of Centennial and Smith Road. This is 1 lot in Lower Frederick Township. Lower Frederick has an Act 209, and our proposed voluntary improvements to that intersection, to both Centennial Street and to the realignment of where it comes out onto Smith Road, is quite a considerable ask, and that in totality on the 62-acre property, 50 acres of it is in Perkiomen, 8 acres is in Schwenksville Borough, and then 4 for you. That we are putting to have everything consistent and have connectivity from Smith Road all the way down Centennial Street, so that you can then connect into Main Street, get to the Perkiomen Trail, provide that unique opportunity. We, in addition to doing the improvements that we've proposed on the TPD plan, we are also now doing a sidewalk from our entrance heading east all the way down until we hit existing sidewalk in the borough. And what that means is that there's a interior development within our community. It's 515 Centennial, which is 5 properties. We are now adding, and we are going to do sidewalk through the township right away, so that when you're coming from Smith Road in Lower Frederick, you'll have a 4-foot wide paved shoulder until you get to the entrance. And then from the entrance, you then have 4-foot wide sidewalk, then all the way down to Main Street in the borough. And we're also picking up the stormwater issues that are at the corner of Smith Road and Centennial that the township engineer had brought to our engineer's attention. And so that has been incorporated into the design and into the stormwater calcs, because I know that was concern that the township had asked of our engineer last week. So that would be shown on the plan. So these are, and then we're also then changing the end top inlets to C top inlets as it goes down Centennial, and we're piping it. So we're picking up all the stormwater that is currently there on Smith that had been running along Centennial and the swale, and now it's all being engineered and then piped from Smith, from Lower Frederick through all the way down into the culvert that we are putting in, which is, I know it's a per diem improvement, but it's an improvement that Greg Alco had spent some time explaining, walking you through that. Again, it is not our full ask for responsibility, but for the betterment of the job, we are taking out a 24-inch pipe and putting in, I don't have the size in front of me, but a significantly larger elliptical culvert under Centennial Street to then pick up all of the stormwater that then runs off into then, as it goes down into the borough. I know that was something else that we talked about last week. So I can't really imagine what more there really is. We're doing the full landscaping. We're complying with Value Engineering's comments. We're looking forward to a call that we have scheduled with her tomorrow afternoon. And this has really been, we've run townships now for 14 months, and we feel represents a beautiful property, a beautiful project.
Good, but when you were talking on the sidewalk, were you talking just Smith Road into your entrance into the development, or would it continue up the rest of the property, up Smith Road, to the end of your property, where it would meet Manning's property?
So Manning's property on Smith Road,
Yes.
next to Rolling Turf?
Yes,
Okay, so there's no proposed sidewalk on Smith Road.
that's what I wanted to hear,
Right,
yet, if it wasn't.
that was what we are doing at the intersection, and so is that we're doing then the grading and clearing, grading, and then all of the landscaping that we had walked through with the planning commission, and then was to then make that purposeful so that it's set back, so that we're really trying to keep the site distance lines as clean as possible, but also provide all of the necessary landscaping along that frontage. So it's the best of both worlds. And then as you then make the turn on from Smith onto Centennial, I think that that was where Matt Hammond had explained, that it's a softened turn, and then we're picking up that stormwater ponding that's happening at the intersection, picking that up, and then Lang's engineering that it then gets piped and then run, put down Centennial. So where we start on Centennial is where the 4-foot wide paved shoulder is in Lower Frederick until we get to our western entrance. And then we pick up internal sidewalk through the community and then sidewalk along Centennial. Then
Okay, I understand all that.
Yep.
So I haven't heard many of your meetings with other municipalities, but have any of them requested or have you offered any per house contributions to their emergency services, fire, police, anything along those lines?
We have not had those comments. We have preliminary plan approval from Schwenksville Borough, and we have conditional use approval from Perkiomen Township. We will be back in front of them at the March meeting for consideration for preliminary plan approval.
Since nothing you've offered to any of those yet?
We have not had any discussions on that. That has not been brought to our attention. And honestly, I know it's kind of been a chicken and egg of not coming to Lower Frederick until we had a lot else worked out, because the plan is substantially, being addressed with the other two municipalities and all the stormwater and whatnot that we are addressing from Lower Frederick.
I bet they'd all be open to it. And then I guess as far as like looking at the plan, since you were here last time, where your sewer's running in Centennial, Lower Frederick has, I think, 3 or 4 houses around the entrance towards Smith Road, that could be problematic. And just again, seeing if there's any opportunities to continue the sewer main to connect to those. So just wanted to see if that was consideration.
So we do have a call scheduled with Carol, as I said, tomorrow. I know that Freddie, the Borough Authority engineer, was in front of your board at their workshop in November, and there was discussion that we are on a gravity sewer main, that there's 4 properties that run on Centennial that were in your 2013 revised Act 537 plan. 1 property is already connected via force main, the other 3 are systems that are on lot. Our planning module went in front of the county health department and the county planner, but most importantly, the county health department, and it did not come back with comments with a request for those on lots to be tied into sewer. And because of the elevation of the way of those properties that were gravity, and our sewer main is not, it was purposely designed so that it was not creating a future problem for Lower Frederick to have a main in their township. So it was done with that intent, and I know we'll have our call tomorrow if there's an easement that needs to be determined or something, that we would be receptive to that.
So just,
Chuck, go ahead if you were going to say.
Yeah. So I appreciate you pointing out to us that our portion of the pie is very small, but the intersection's in our township. And I think you're falling a little short. And as I said, the intersection's in our township. And I think I would like to see you do more with that intersection before I would feel comfortable signing off on this plan. I think you need to address that. And I think we can give you some ideas of what we think might work.
So I know that, so first, we don't look at Lower Frederick's portion as small. We understand that it's only 1 lot, but we've known that, that the improvements to the intersection into Centennial Street were going to benefit everyone. And so we've been looking at it from the beginning. Matt Hammond is an engineer that this township has worked with before. We did a traffic improvement or a traffic impact study. It's now performing at an A. I know that no one likes to really hear that because in the day-to-day it doesn't feel it, but that is what he has, that's what his study says, and he has now stated to both the Planning Commission and the board that as far as doing any further improvements for the intersection for the turning, if your thought is to do a full realignment, that Matt Hammond had spoken to that last week, and he had looked at Carol's thoughts, and also the Montgomery County Planning Commissioner had put his thoughts in writing as far as what might be possible, and Matt Hammond and TBD had looked at it, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he found no benefit greater than what is being proposed in consideration that it is 1 lot in Lower Frederick, and that the site distance is, with the change to where the stop sign is then meeting PennDOT codes. So.
Well, I mean, just to address that, I would be perfectly happy if Matt wants to talk with our staff and convince our staff of the same thing. But I think that there's a lot of room for improvement. If there's an accident there, I believe it will be our police who will be responding during regular hours for that situation. So I do think we have a kind of a stake in this, a little bit more than just one lot. And again, I feel like what you proposed is falling short. We've been told that, oh yeah, realigning is not going to get us anywhere, but that's all that's been said. There's never been like a reason, anything more than just making that statement. And I welcome to have that discussion and, convince us of that. Um, Also, if we're going to consider any kind of boundary change, it has to be neutral in terms of area gained and area lost between the townships. And there are several other properties on Smith Road that have split boundaries. And I would like to see, or I would request, that we make every effort to cure those properties as well, because that has not worked. It has not worked at all. It's been a headache for this township. And so if you want us to go down that road, you need to do those things. At least that's the way I feel about it.
And I just want to follow up on what Chuck is saying. And we may only have 2 acres in that development, but that is our intersection. I can assure you that our colleagues in Perkiomen Township, and especially in Schwenksville Borough, we are all on the same page about the need for that intersection to be fixed. Whether it's 2 acres or 200 acres, that is a terrible intersection. That property on the corner is constantly getting hit. And I go through there 2 or 3 times a week, and you take your life in your hands. And I agree that we need more than what your traffic engineer is proposing.
We hear the feedback, and I'm not looking to be disrespectful, but you do have an Act 209 in your township, and so
No, it's not active. You're talking about an off-site traffic study?
So your ordinance is, so you have an Act 209 in Lower Frederick? So you've
Yeah,
not, you've
we
not
don't
ordered-
collect money, we don't do anything, we've never done it. So we do not have a functioning 209.
So not having a functioning Act 209 with Act 209 areas, what you're requesting then is an off-site improvement.
Well, we don't look at it as off-site. Your property is right up against this intersection.
Right, but it's not an intersection for ingress and egress. But a traffic engineer, and I understand that you'll be talking to, you'll be meeting with the engineers tomorrow. So I think it's something that can be discussed. But it is an off-site improvement. It's not an intersection that's directly for ingress and egress.
Yeah, I would disagree with that.
Okay, well, what I'm hearing so far from the rest of the board, is you have to understand that a lot of the things that are being asked benefit residents of Lower Frederick Township and their safety. So that's, I think, the meat of some of this, and connectivity and what benefits our residents. I concur with everything that's been said, and I would entertain it, but I would also like to have a conversation with Schwenksville and Perkiomen Township as well, and maybe setting up a meeting and get all of our ducks in a row as well. So.
Right, I believe that they'd be willing to, that Artisan would be willing to have that kind of a meeting, with the understanding that that the improvements that are being requested need to be proportionate to not only the land area, but also to the benefit of the residents. But again, there are certain things that can't be required that we would be willing to entertain and discuss, however.
But I think it would be an excellent opportunity for the municipalities and if Artisan participating to have that discussion. Everyone has now, had enough determination.
If you get up everybody.
Yes.
Finally got to us. Here we are.
So is that, we'll obviously allow the solicitors and Joe London to organize that meeting, but I guess our hope would be that it would be sooner rather than later so that we can make determinations.
Right,
So,
we would like to have that meeting in the next couple of weeks so that we can keep the process going.
Okay, well, Jason will reach out to the other townships, and we'll see if we can get something together with Peter and have that discussion.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
George, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to know, because I don't know anything about this development, how many houses are you proposing?
27.
27 houses. So on average,
No,
you're gonna add
that's
In
41.
total, it's 41.
41 homes. Okay, so on average, you're talking 2 cars a house. 41 times 2 is what? That's 82 more cars. Okay, you already have a bad intersection, as everybody notated to you. Now you're gonna add 82 more cars, at least twice a day, typically, all right? So that road's pretty skinny as things go, so if you're driving a dual-wheel type pickup truck and a car passes, it's pretty hard to pass one another on those roads. Now you're gonna add all this other traffic as well. So, you know, the township, obviously, we have to look out for our township residents, the neighboring township residents as well. A lot of us have been here for a long time, okay? There's a lot of developments popping up here and there. Whatever's gonna be going on for your development sets precedents for other developments across the board. So, you know, we really need to take a look at this and just say, hey, this is a safety thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is the award of the 2025 oil and chip project equipment bid calendar. You're up.
Thank you. So 2 bids were submitted in response to the invitation to bid on chip seal equipment rental. And those bids were opened on January 28th. The chip seal equipment rental contract provides equipment operators and labor for application of chip seal coat to township streets at hourly rates. The bids have been reviewed and tabulated, and Asphalt Maintenance Solutions was determined to be the lowest responsible bidder with a bid of $34,650. We recommend the township consider award.
Okay, just for the public's edification, can you tell me what roads are on that list to be chipped and sealed?
Let me go back and find that real
Okay.
fast. It's gonna take me just a minute to access the file. There we go.
I've got it if you want.
Up, got it. Okay, Gerloff Road,
Girl,
Kraus Road,
Kraus,
Mine Hill Road West,
Pine Hill West,
Swamp Creek Road,
Swamp Creek,
Woodside Avenue,
Woodside.
and Yerger Road, the portion that is township owned.
You're the portion that's township owned, and you said Gerloff.
Yes.
Okay, so I remember when we first discussed this, and I had a chance to go out and I drove on the road and said, yeah, they probably should be done. Question Woodside, but specifically with Gerloff, from like the bridge out to 70, up to 73 there, there's a lot of like potholy things. Are they going to be fixed before they actually chip and seal?
Yes, you're getting a good pavement eye. So we do need to do base repairs, particularly on that portion of Gerloff before the chip seal occurs. And that is on the schedule of your Public Works Department.
Okay, which leads me to when you have a chance, if you could get that to the board, that public works schedule, that would be great.
I can ask Tommy what he might have that he can
Okay,
share with
then
you.
I'll take it through Jason. Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
If there's not any questions, do I get a motion? Okay, George.
Can you tell us again what the total cost of this job's gonna be? I think you just quoted the equipment, is that correct?
I just quoted the equipment.
Okay, what's the total cost?
And you're
of doing
correct
this?
that there's also going to be purchasing emulsion and purchasing the stone.
Right.
Our
So what's the
original,
total?
our original estimate for this whole project was, I believe, $182,000. And that's just under 5 miles of road.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick story. You guys did a lot of tar and chip around the township, and I live on a state road which is tar and chip. And I just lost the tire because of one of those stones. Oh, by the way, when they plowed it, they loosened up all the stones that had been set down before, okay? So now there's stones and debris. You run up and down the road, and it's like your car's getting sandblasted. And it really doesn't last. Asphalt is a whole lot better solution than tar and chip. I'm tearing up my paint job on my vehicles. I just lost the tire, spent hours at the tire company yesterday, had to buy 4 tires. Now, who's gonna sweep all those stones up that are all over the place now that they got plowed up? For all the roads you already did, now you wanna add insult to injury and do more of these roads. Why don't you do base repair instead? Preserve the roads we have. Hot seal the cracks. Use common sense. You're pouring good money over bad.
So
I don't think I'm the only one in the room that feels that way, by the way. I'm the only one speaking up, though.
I second what George said.
Okay, just to let you know that at the end of the winter season, they'll be going out and sweeping up.
What about now?
We can't
I'm
just
getting
keep
my car
having, we can't afford to keep having a sweeper go out there. You
Well,
know, at
I
the end of the
understand that, and
season-
if you didn't do this in the first place, you wouldn't have that expense. Am I wrong?
Well, let's just say my observations have been different than yours. I live on Yerger Road. It's a state road. It's been chip sealed. It's been plowed. It's just fine. Delphi Road, it's been chip sealed. I'm there every day on foot, 2 times a day. Been fine. I don't know what went on that dug up all those stones. I can't speak to that. If you need 4 new tires, it's not due to the chips.
No, I
Sorry.
one tire because it punctured it right at the edge of the sidewall, and because it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, you have to replace all 4, Chuck.
All right, but George, all I'm saying is I'm there. I'm on these roads on foot every day. And I'm not seeing what you're seeing. That's all. You're making it seem like everybody should be agreeing with you because, you guys know everything. And I'm like, other people make their own observations. And I strongly disagree with you on this. And I've heard this. I've done my own independent reading over the years because I know people take exception to it. And I can't find anything that supports what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Well, we can agree to disagree, but I don't agree with you. I'm sorry. And my paint job's being affected. Drive up and down the roads around here a little bit, Chuck. Instead of walking, I'm driving.
I do both. I go to work and I drive them. When I'm around here, I drive them. I go out running every day, so I get to see everything up close.
Car. Tired of it.
I do both.
Ernie?
Yes, did George say that Colonial is a state road?
Yes.
It's a state problem then, not our problem.
Yeah, but we have the interconnecting roads are township roads, Ernie.
I realize that, I live here too.
Okay.
But we've been tarring and chipping with the special emulsions and the special stones, and they do come through and they do brush it up. And I do have some issues with tar and chipping, but not as serious as yours. I drive on a lot of the roads too in this township. I haven't run into any problems with getting my tires punctured.
Well, I just did.
Okay, George, thank you. I hear your concerns. We've had this conversation before. It's a lot more costly to do asphalt than it is to do chip and seal. We're a small township, so this is what we do. This is what we do. But thank you, I hear your concerns. Any other questions, comments? Okay, we have a recommended motion to accept the bid from Asphalt Maintenance Solutions LLC in the amount of $34,650 for the 2025 oil and chip seal project equipment rental contract, and further authorize the township manager to sign all necessary paperwork to complete the contract. Can I get a motion?
I will so move.
Marla moves. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Terry Berg seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, next is our resolution 2025 fee schedule. Okay. So this was on our last meeting. It was tabled to allow Peter to make some corrections, edits, so forth and so on. We received the draft from our township manager. It's the updated fee schedule incorporating Isaac's fees. We created a document in an Excel spreadsheet instead of Word or in an Excel file format. I've had a chance to look at it. There seems to be some other details here. Does anybody have any questions about the fee schedule that was provided?
I don't have a question, but I just have a comment, which is if at any time in the future, whether it be tomorrow, next month, or in 6 months, we find something that we want to change, we can update this at any time. We do not have to wait a year,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay.
it's a resolution.
Yeah.
You could update it at every meeting if you wish.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, so thank you for going through this and highlighting a lot, and but then pointing out the areas that it's changed the most, and it's good if it can change them. I'm comfortable going through with this if I think it's the right time to do it. I think in the next few months, it might be a good opportunity for the board to go to meet ISA and the representatives. Like we've done at least last year, a couple of years, came up with the most common scenarios, re-roofing, things like that, just to play it through the fee schedule. I think it'd be a good idea if we take a look at some of the things we've done the past few years, some of the things we've highlighted in our comprehensive plan to encourage some of the things that are in there, to then bring it back to the fee schedule to make it not cost prohibitive, to do the things we're encouraging people to do. Again, not going into full details, but in the past month or so, have identified a couple of areas such as permits for on-site work for developers is cheaper to do than small businesses because it's considered residential. I think there's definitely some things that we should consider as a township, who's applying, what they're applying for, and to make sure it fits, that it feels right. So I'm fine with moving along if everyone else has had time to review it, but definitely want to get something on the books within the next 2 months. To take a better look at this and for the supervisors to kind of lay out what their vision is.
Okay, me personally, I'm willing to move forward with it now that we know that we can make some changes. I was just kind of curious. I would have liked to have seen the difference between what was changed and the math and the homework behind it, but I'm gonna be okay with this for now. Arla, do you have anything else to add? No, okay.
No, and I just think Terry's proposal is a good one.
No, it's a very good one, and I would like to meet with ISAT as well so that they can get a grasp on what our expectations even as a board are.
Would you want that to be like a work session type of thing or something?
Use it as an information.
An informational, yeah.
Okay.
Just have it sit down and meet with them because we didn't really have that chance to do that and kind of set the expectations from the board to them. So, let's see, the motion here is to move to adopt resolution 2025 R02, adopting the 2025 fee schedule. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Marla makes the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Terry Bird will make the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Resolution passes unanimously.
The only thing I would want to question, Jason, when you were out, we may have used this resolution number last week. Right?
No,
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. I spoke.
Okay.
This was on the original reorg
Okay.
general meeting or the first meeting of the year.
All right. My apologies. So we skipped it last week. Right, got it.
Yeah, it's still 02. Yep.
All right, no, I think we did.
Yeah, 03 and 04 got used last week.
Okay, so this will be over.
No, this is 02.
No,
It's
the
okay.
next one.
Oh, the next one,
Next one,
the
yes,
next one will be
05.
05.
Do you have a question about what we just discussed?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Could you tell me what the fee schedule is for sanitary lateral?
We'd have to go digging through that, it's pretty long. Can that be something Jason gets back to you on?
Well, the reason I ask is I brought this up before, and I believe that our previous code, with the, I think it's two or three different pieces, only came up to like $325. So in digging around and talking to most townships, they're anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500. So, you know, all the piping that we just did up at Babington, Riverside, and Fulmer, there really wasn't, I think it was like Terry, do you remember, was it like $325 is what they had to pay? Terry Sachs?
For,
For the tie-in and the lateral fee? Because see, what's happening is we're not getting compensated for the lateral that we put in. We're getting, you know, we're getting this, the EDU.
Are you talking about the breakdown again between the A, B, and C?
No,
No?
I'm talking about the physical cost for the lateral.
it was $7,400 for the tie-in, and then it was $200 and some for the permit. If I'm pretty close to that.
That's close, yeah.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Right, so the lateral itself, we're not getting compensated.
Why should you? It's not your lateral, the people have to pay for all that to be done.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
From the main to the right of way.
You're not you're only going, no, the main is already in, and they bring it to the property line.
That's what
Now
I'm saying, we're not
the
getting
people are,
compensated for that.
we're not supposed to.
Well, every other township does.
That belongs to the township, out in the street to the property line.
Okay.
And does not belong to the people.
I understand that. I'm not asking for them to pay for it at that time.
Now,
What saying
I'm gonna
is-
tell you, some boroughs and townships, if it has to be fixed, some of them have you fix it out there, but they, you know, it gets to be a lot of money because you're digging up a road,
Correct.
you know.
I'm just saying that other
There are some.
townships are charging anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 for it. When that project goes through, that lateral is being charged at that price. So, like you said, they would pay for the 7405, they would pay for the lateral.
At the
if it's
permit.
1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500, whatever it is, and if they need the plumber's fee or whatever for his permit, then that would be included in it. So I just brought it up in the past that it was something that it seemed like it was missing, and it, you know, it sounds like it's low, and the reason I brought it up was Terry Bird just mentioned, you know, some things look a little low or a little high or whatever, maybe we need to do something, so that's why I brought it up again. I mean, I'm not asking you to dig through it to find the lateral right now, I just, you know, was trying to make a point that I think we're low on it, so since we can change it at any time, we should take into consideration, you know, if that's the census. If not, if you guys are fine with doing it the way we're doing, then we keep it that way.
Well, when it's that, and if it can be changed later on, it's a possibility we could look at that and change it. If not, we don't. Okay, would that be suitable? I mean, you look at it.
Oh, yeah,
Instead
absolutely.
of digging it up now and.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hold the meeting up, Brandon.
Chuck, do you want to say something?
Yeah, Chuck.
All I was gonna say is I've been looking through the document, doing a word search. I don't think we have other than the 7405 and the inspection stuff. I'm not sure what else would be in there.
It's sewer connection, Chuck, it's $250.
Okay. I was doing the search on the word sewer, but
I think there's another one that gets added to that, Peter.
We got sewer certifications. We also have the escrow, so I don't know if we charge escrow with the sewer connection.
That's a third is that they want.
And we have a separate charge for grinder pumps.
okay.
Yeah, it's section 13, Chuck.
Here it is. Got it. Sewer connection 250.
Okay, well, get on with that. Okay, all right. Next up, we have the resolution for the addition of properties to the fire hydrant tax list. So this came up a few times over the last couple of years. And it came up with the board. We've been able to locate we haven't been able to originate the original resolution for the fire hydrant tax, so we're gonna kind of start off from zero. We did find a list from 2012, and I think where did you get your information?
We do have an updated list from 2021 that was, looks like it was provided to our auditor that I found. What I did is I did have the tax collector kind of give me the list of the new homes between like 12 and that time frame to see if those houses were captured. They were. So the new homes or the addresses that are listed, which would be in the Exhibit B, I have been able to confirm they're within the 780 feet of a fire hydrant, and they are not currently on the list.
Okay, so there's 46 properties being added.
Yeah, so the tax, they were able to help confirm, because we didn't really have a permit tracking between, before like 18, so I had a little concerned if there was a gap, so. But it looks like the list we got, the list we found was given through the tax office to our auditor, because it had the master list, like our overall real estate master list, and then the fire hydrant list, so.
Okay, so the whole purpose of this is to add these homes to the fire hydrant tax because they're within 780 feet of a fire hydrant. Most of them appear to be in Arcadia Station subdivision. We are going to pass this resolution, and then the list will go back to our tax collector, and then the ball is in his court. He will be responsible for contacting the homeowners and then sending out that information on their next tax bills. Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments?
I just have one comment. I looked at the resolution today. I've made some changes to it because, as you put it, we can't find the original resolution that established this. So I think we need to, as Chuck mentioned in regards to the donation, this is something we probably should try to memorialize. So I've added, and Jason has it, I've added to the resolution basically a statement that we're reaffirming the establishment of this tax and that we're attaching the current list to this resolution. That's Exhibit A, and then Exhibit B is the new properties.
So you're basically taking us from the 0 to
Yes.
memorialize.
So going into the future, hopefully we will now have this resolution. It will be in our files, and if someone goes back and looks, at least we have this around
And you provided that to Jason?
Yeah, so I've got that updated, so now there's an Exhibit A, Exhibit B.
Yeah.
Also, just for the board's edification, especially since we know we've got new homes being built, there will be hydrants that this will be like a yearly update till that list, till those subdivisions get built out. So that way we don't need to wait till the subdivisions are built out, because once they start receiving water service and we're paying for those hydrants, then those residents will.
I thought that was gonna happen when they were issued their use and occupancy.
Well, let's just say it didn't happen, so. I'm telling you as moving forward, so we don't have an accumulation of homes that don't get on the.
I'll probably circle back on that, just to get that squared away. Okay, in the meantime, Bob, did you have a question?
They both answered. Thank you very much.
All right.
So am I to understand adding these 46 homes is going to amount to adding $345 to the hydrant fund?
Yes, roughly.
Okay.
Goes off of the assessment.
That's what I did, Bob.
It's more of a comment, not a question. So for the Exhibit A and B, specifically A, it's parcel numbers and the assessment are the two things we're focused on. And just a quick observation is that as the owner and then the mailing address, just so you know, like if you're reviewing the list and you see addresses out of state, we're not assessing hydrant taxes. People have
the
stake,
problem.
it's the property owner where they're getting their tax bill.
That's why I squeezed in the extra column so you guys could see what the physical address was, because I realized there was definitely some out-of-state addresses. I did
Chuck,
pick
do you
up.
have anything to add?
No, I do not.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah, so with adding whatever Chuck said, the $300 and some, to add to that, the bigger part of the problem is that we've got double the amount of money in that account than we're getting charged from SWA. So are we gonna still charge the reduced rate that Jason put in from last year? Or are we gonna recalculate a brand new rate so that we know what's happening, and then each year it's like the two developments come on, or whatever else, whoever else builds anywhere else that's in that area, that's gonna keep trickling up. But right now, we still have the problem where we have double the amount of money in that fund. I know we reduced it, and I think,
It's that
captured like 2/3
we kept
of
it
what it
the
is.
same, so it's like we're charging a third less than we were, so that account it's going down. It's going down. But once I haven't done any calculations with the new homes and then with what's coming yet, as far as, what that tax rate, that'll be something that gets assessed on a yearly basis when the board does the, tax resolution.
Is it safe to say it'll probably go down?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Okay, so, moving on here, the motion is to adopt resolution 2025-R05, approving the addition of certain properties for the fire hydrant tax list. Peter, should I add anything to this? Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Marla, I will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Resolution passes unanimously. Our next resolution, I did go, I've got that one, okay. Annual criteria for Lower Frederick Township Volunteer Local Tax Credit Program. Okay, we do this every year.
Yes.
And that's the annual, right? Okay. I'm not overly familiar with how this works. Maybe somebody who has more extensive knowledge can explain what this tax is, just for everybody's, I don't want to go and pass something without explaining exactly what it is.
So I guess what it is we get a partial break on our local taxes.
The volunteer firefighters.
Right, for.
You have to live in the township.
Yes.
Right.
There's certain
Right.
criteria.
Township, certain amount of fire calls, certain amount of trainings, certain amount of functions and meetings, basically.
And who actually sets that criteria? It's.
You know, I wasn't chief when it took place, so I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
It's all on your run sheets.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
usually, and it runs on how many, the members, your firemen show up to all your meetings, and that's how it's calculated, okay?
And so they provide the township the list, so that's who
Yes.
ends up getting the tax. So
It gets signed off on.
it's a notarized document that comes from the fire company verifying that these firefighters meet the criteria for both EIT and real estate, or just EIT if they don't own property, like they,
So it's a tax benefit to our volunteer firefighters.
Correct.
It ends up being probably 40% of the firefighters who live in the township, I think, end up getting it. And a lot of that has to do with busyness with people, second jobs. Our Philly firefighter, he works 4 days a week where he can't come to practice and misses calls. So, doing good, but it is what it is.
Anybody on the board want to have a comment? Any questions? John?
No, I'm just gonna say, I mean, if you read through it, the bar is pretty high. So the people who get it, they are certainly earning it. They have to participate in a lot of events, not just one category. So I'm good with it.
Schwenksville Borough has the same thing for the limited number of firefighters that are
The
there.
criteria is on the back. I didn't see
Yeah.
the other side.
That's all right.
You know, Harrisburg established this, how many years ago?
2017,
To
yeah?
provide incentives for volunteer firefighters.
Yeah, it was like 17, 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there.
I
Was we gonna say something?
I think this is the first year Montgomery County is doing the same thing actually too. So-
Oh, okay,
And theirs is just as stringent, if not a little more stringent, actually.
okay. Well, having said that, the motion is to adopt resolution 2025-R06, establishing the annual criteria for a Lower Frederick Township volunteer establishing the annual criteria for a Lower Frederick Township volunteer to be certified under the local tax program in 2025. Can I get a motion?
I just have a question. It says Lower Frederick Township volunteer, it doesn't say firefighter.
It was really the firefighters, that was all it was for.
It doesn't say that, so is that an issue? It doesn't
No,
specify it for
and
firefighters.
just recognize, with this resolution, you're accepting the criteria. And then there's gonna be another list of the actual firefighters that are gonna be sent to you. That'll be a second motion, probably next month, that you'll get, and that's, when you actually award the tax break.
Okay, thank you. So can I get a motion?
Make the motion?
Terry Byrne will make the motion, I will make the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimously. Okay, next resolution. Tax services fee for the tax collector. Actually, Jason, I'm gonna let you speak to this because you had, you worked with him on this. Unless you just want me to read what's right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Okay.
that's basically
So-
just,
Okay, so apparently our tax collector, Josh, reached out to Jason and notified him that they were looking to raise their tax service fee rates. There's three components here. There's tax certifications, currently charging $25 for 3 years of info. They want to change that to $35 for up to 4 years of info. A duplicate bill fee information on real estate tax data, $2 per parcel, they want to change that to $5 per parcel. And a return check fee, non-sufficient funds fee, currently no charge, they would like to start charging $30 per bank return check. Also to make note that these rates have been, these older rates have been in effect since 2006. So I guess it seems to make sense to get them in line. So, does anyone have any questions, any comments?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, this has nothing to do with your tax rate, these are just other fees.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, if there's no more questions, no comments. The resolution is to adopt the motion is to adopt resolution 2025-R07, establishing fees for tax services provided by the elected tax collector. Can I get a motion?
Also moved.
Marla makes the motion. Can I get a second?
Chuck Geiser will second.
Chuck Geiser seconds. All those in favor say
Can
aye.
I just, one little clarification?
Certainly.
Under state law, these fees have to be adopted by February 15th, so thankfully we're doing it correctly.
Okay, thank you.
But the change cannot be put in effect until 2026. Because the salary and this of the tax collector cannot be changed until after the tax collector has been elected or re-elected. And salary, the definition of salary includes fees like this.
So should I modify this motion?
No, you can adopt it, but I just want to explain to you, and we'll have to explain to the tax collector
That
that,
these fees can't go into effect until 2026?
yes.
Okay, noted. Okay, so Marla made the motion, Chuck made the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, resolution passes unanimously. Let's see, resolution for approval of the amendment to the municipal police cooperative agreement. Okay. And I don't know enough about this to talk about it, so I'm gonna leave it to you if you can, and maybe Peter.
The chief knows better.
Okay.
I looked at it. It works for me. They get to go have fun with guns.
Well, let me put it this way,
So-
it looks like something, we already have some sort of intermunicipal agreement, this kind of suits it up a little bit.
This is, there was an agreement amongst the chiefs that three additional municipalities are coming on board for the existing SWAT team. This is just the amendment that Peter reviewed, that all the townships are in agreement with the previous agreement, allowing them to be active members and participate in the services that the SWAT team provides.
Now, I saw what was provided in the Dropbox, it's an extensive list of municipalities.
Yes.
Who off the top of your head can you think of that just got added?
East Greenville, Upper Perk, and Marlboro Township.
Okay. And what exactly does this do? What is this?
This allows, if we have a problem, it allows every agency to come in with special weapons, tactics, drones to solve the problem.
And the participants also provide officers to
Yeah.
the team.
And so every municipality, there's a fee for.
Apologize.
So the officers are provided by the township. There's a funding fee that's provided, and it allows you to bring all the resources together and serve the residents of whatever municipality need.
Terrific, thank you. Never done one, JC, thank you. Okay. All right.
And just from a legal standpoint,
Yeah.
this is an intermunicipal agreement, and under state law, we need to adopt a written resolution or ordinance, and obviously we're doing a resolution because it's easier, in order to put it in place. So that's why you have a written resolution authorizing us to execute this.
Anyone in the supervisors have any questions or comments? Anyone? You can't see anybody on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Zoom, can you?
You can.
I can.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions.
Don't feel bad, wait until now to ask that question, okay.
Nobody's raised, I have not been missing
No,
it, if
okay,
anybody's
all
raised
right.
their hand. Or...
So, the motion is to adopt resolution 2025-R07, authorizing the approval of the amendment to the municipal police cooperative agreement dated March 21st of 2017, and further authorizing the chair to sign the amendment on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Would that be 07 or 08?
08.
I apologize, okay. All right. Adopt resolution 2025-R08, authorizing the approval of the amendment to the municipal police cooperative agreement on March 21st, 2017, and further authorizing the chair to sign the amendment on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. Can I get a motion?
I'll still move.
Marla makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Terry Sachs seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion- Resolution passes unanimously. And then lastly, we have fiscal year 2024 financial review presentation. Now, we do not have the benefit of being able to see that.
It's up to you guys.
How long is it?
24 slides.
24 slides,
They're very short slides.
very short slides.
I can work session. There's,
Peter wants work session.
essentially, you guys have most of this data already from.
I know, but
the
not
board.
being able to have the public have that visual, it's,
So we can save it for the work session. It's not, it's done. So you guys have it, and I have no problem waiting.
do you have any?
There's nothing earth shattering in there that you guys aren't already aware.
Well, then let's table it to the work session.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Good call.
Great. So, does anyone have any comments or questions? Public comment? George?
What happened to the screen?
We're having technical difficulties, we're not quite sure yet.
Okay, that's one.
Apologies.
Well, and what I was gonna say too, because that doesn't work right now, but can we get, if a developer comes in with a set of plans, to have it put on screen so the whole audience can actually see what we're talking about, because these people presented, we have no idea what they're talking about. They're talking like 41 houses, okay, well, where are they at?
I know that was a challenge this time around, but they were here last week. They did have their plans, and we did have the benefit of that. So,
Okay.
yeah, they were just coming back, they were to discuss a particular thing. And that they come back for approval, and like a majority of that development is
in a different
No,
township.
I understand, I know exactly where it is. I have one question for Carol. Hey, Carol, are you, monitoring the drilling and blasting at Melbourne Hills?
It don't work.
Doesn't work.
Just speak loud.
Just talk loud.
So we were involved, working with township staff on the blasting permit application and making sure that everything was in order for that application and that they had all their certifications and insurance in place. I have an inspector who is on site and is aware of blasting when it's about to occur. And so, yeah, we're aware of it and knowledgeable of it, and everything is in line as far as permits and paperwork for that.
Okay, so how deep are they drilling the holes?
I don't personally know that. I have to ask my inspector that.
So
I can
they're
get
not-
back to you with that answer.
Right, so, I mean, do you have a monitor, you can monitor blast and record it?
They have monitors. So
Who-
they have monitoring requirements
Is
that
that
are
the
in.
blasting company you're talking about?
Yes,
today?
and that's in their code. Yep.
So do you get a copy of that?
Township will get copy of all reports.
All right, good, thanks.
Sorry, George, if you want to see the plans for that development, there's a YouTube channel for the township, and they get the audio and video, so you could go back and look at that meeting
Okay.
on YouTube, and you can see the plans.
Okay, thanks.
Bob Burns, 102 Zieglerville Road. First of all, whoever the person was that made that donation for the anonymous person, I think needs a round of applause for that. I didn't hear anyone say anything about it. Thank you very much.
Now we just got to find land.
Other than that, I think, for right now, I'm good with questions. You guys have answered a lot of the other questions that I had, so we'll see what comes up next meeting. Thank you very much.
All right, do I need to have any supervisor comments? No? Okay.
Sure, hey. So I just like to give kudos to our public works people. A couple weeks ago, I was driving from work to attend a planning commission meeting on a Thursday night, and we got, an inch of snow, which kind of caught everybody off guard. And the roads were an absolute mess getting from Phoenixville. Going down Knifer Road, I know Terry Sachs knows this, going down that hill on Knifer, it's no man's land down to Yerger. And I started to slip and slide, turned around, and I went down Gerloff. And Gerloff, once I got into our township, was beautiful. No problems. No problems all the way to the township building. I was ready to just bag the meeting because the roads were, I was like, I can't go to this, but our roads were beautiful, perfect. And Yerger Road on the way home, having the nice chip seal, had a nice extra traction there too.
Well, the road crew was also out. What night was that? That's the night before last, Sunday night on a weekend, and it was dark and it was late, and they were out there doing their thing. So thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.